Welcome to the British Basketball League YouTube channel for the final game in the trophy group stages ahead of the finals weekend in Birmingham in just 6 days' time. Tonight's game sees the Cheshire Phoenix face the Sheffield Sharks. In the regular season, it's one apiece. To bring us up to speed about what this fixture means in the trophy is your commentary team of Dan Routledge and current London Line and Trophy semi-finalist Jordan Taylor.
Thank you very much, Jeanette. Yes, welcome to Ellesmere Port. Cheshire Phoenix against Sheffield Sharks. And to answer your question, not a lot, Jeanette. The Cheshire Phoenix are already into the semi-final. Sheffield can't make it. So Cheshire in that awkward spot of they've got one more game to play, but they're thinking about next week.
Yeah, it's a fun game for Cheshire. They get to relax. The young guys get to play. Aaron Rye, LaQuincy Rideau on the bench. They'll be cheering for their guys. And for Sheffield, it'll be something for them where they can try and gain some rhythm. They've been struggling lately.
Well, let's have a look at these starting fives for today's game. And all change for the Cheshire. For Hudson, for Wild. Stevens doesn't start too many games. Shargwar is the only one that we regularly see in the starting five, and they're a bit thinner on the bench, as Jordan mentioned. At the other end of the floor, Sheffield, they're more regular starting five that we're used to seeing. Be interesting to see how many minutes Green gets off the bench as well in his second game in a Sheffield shirt. But one guy you wanted to have a look at before we get underway here, playing really well in the trophy camp, Christian.
Absolutely. Cheshire has two top five scorers in Maceo Jack and Aaron Rye. Cam Christian said, don't forget about me. He's shooting 68% from the field, 53 from three in the trophy series. The 3 games, he's been amazing.
And at the other end of the floor, Sheffield made a change recently. Green with a debut yesterday looked pretty impressive.
17 and 7 in 16 minutes doesn't get much more impressive than that. That's exactly what they needed. Sheffield is last in scoring in the trophy, 9th in the regular season. There's a scoring punch that they've needed and the athleticism as well.
Well, it is a useful chance for them to work him in. But for Ben Thomas, the preparation for next weekend starts here. They've been to 2 trophy finals in the last couple of years, trying to get to a 3rd. Tip-off here is right after this break. Welcome back to Cheshire. There's Chris Dodds amongst our referees today, Simon Unsworth and Ian McDonald as well. And you can see referee Unsworth with the ball in his hands, and the fives are out and ready to go. And we can get things underway here at the Ellesmere Port Sports Village. Not the cleanest jump ball, but it is Sheffield who will get it underway, and Devon Ramsey.
Look for Sheffield to get Jalen Pipkins going early. He's been struggling lately, fighting a bit of a back injury. He said, there he is, a nice pass to Bennett Cook, but fighting a bit of a back injury. So look for this game for Coach Lyons to get him going, get him back in rhythm while we get back into the championship after this trophy.
Yeah, it hasn't quite looked as explosive, and the back will certainly do that to you, but they do like to get Cook some early touches as well, as we saw right there. Here's Hudson at the point. A lot of dribble here from Jack Hudson, gets his own shot and leaves it short. David Ulf doing what he does best, offensive rebounding.
David Ulf, he's a monster on the glass. He's that change of pace big for them. Doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but he does get on the glass. He does mix it up with the other bigs as a turnover early there. But Cheshire just has to share the ball like they have been in the entire trophy series.
Well, that'll be the interesting challenge as Cook gets the rebound, because it is an unusual lineup for them. I'm suspecting these five haven't been on the court at the same time this season, so they'll have to get used to that.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's the tricky thing when you haven't played together a lot, probably not a ton of practice reps either together, so you're kind of winging it a little bit, but you have to trust the system. Coach Thomas has done a great job at implementing their system this season. 27 assists the last game. It's all about pushing pace, touching the paint, kicking out, finding shooters.
Well, Cook, nice footwork underneath to lay it in off the glass.
Bennett Cook, really versatile, big, great footwork, like you mentioned, around the glass. He's a handful to deal with, so expect him to have a big game with some of the Cheshire bigs seeing limited time.
Stevie's driving hard to the hole, loses the ball out of bounds, and that unfamiliarity, you're seeing that play out in a bit more one-on-one than we would normally see from Cheshire.
Yeah, and that's what's gotten them into trouble in the past, though. Even when they have their regular lineup out there, when they're playing well, the ball is moving, they're playing fast, it's swinging side to side, you're getting open threes. They get in trouble when the ball sticks, as any team would, but that's a struggle that they've had at times this year.
Good hands to steal that away. Numbers for Cheshire, and Hudson is able to lay it in to get their first points on the board.
Chargois has been amazing. The nice steal and push finds Hudson, but he's been 18 points in the trophy series, showing off that depth just like Cam Christian has for Cheshire.
Well, they do get out and run the ball very well, Ben Thomas's teams. It is one of their great strengths, although they're a bit sloppy here. Turned it over again. It gives Sheffield a chance to maybe get some points in transition. Not the cleanest break you've ever seen, but they get points at the end of it. That's what matters.
A game that doesn't necessarily have a lot riding on it. Everybody knows it doesn't, so there tends to be a little sloppiness in games like these. But, you know, Chargois, that's what you do not want to see if you're Coach Ben Thomas. Looks like a little jammed finger.
Well, he's still clutching it, just hoping it's not popped it out or anything, because that is, as you say, the last thing Ben Thomas would have wanted. Coming into this game, he's just thinking, we need to get through these 40 minutes, and everybody fit and healthy for that, and he's such a key guy to what they do, Chargois.
He's such a key guy. He can shoot it, he rebounds, he defends, he's somewhat of a rim protector. He's really a luxury for any team in the British Basketball League this year. And, you know, anytime you have a big that can push the ball like that as a guard, you love it. It takes so much pressure off of you and getting the ball across half court and getting into the offense.
Well, the treatment that he received looked consistent with a dislocated finger, so hopefully they've got it back in quickly enough, but I would imagine that's the last we'll see of him today.
Yeah, you would think so. He's a tough guy, though. He looks like a tough guy, plays like a tough guy. I think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to get back in even, but yeah, I think it's wise to kind of let him rest over there.
Yeah, he might want to, but I would imagine Ben Thomas will go, no, we're not taking any more risks. As I say, we've already got a couple of guys wrapped up in cotton wool. Ryan Rideau not active today. Obviously, Rideau's had a bit of a back problem himself in recent weeks. They are watching on.
It's always nice to get a little day off when you do put in some hard work. You know, everybody wants to play and compete every game, but it's always fun to see the young guys or the less heralded guys get some time.
Greg Wild off the mark for three. Yeah, it's much more fun when it's a deliberate choice rather than you've got injured and you have to sit down and watch your teammates.
1,000%, 1,000%. Anytime you have to sit out for a couple weeks, I had an injury for the past 2 weeks. It's frustrating to sit there, but it's part of the game.
Well, Shagwar is off to the locker room with a pack of ice. So I'm pretty sure that is the last we will see of him today, and hopefully that will not be too serious with the semi-final against Leicester coming up next weekend. And obviously you guys had a game on Friday, but you were able to rest most of your guys, and everybody seemed to come through okay, that you need to come through okay on Friday.
Yeah, we made it through. Everybody was kind of in good spirit. Obviously, we lost the game, but, proud of our young guys. Shout out to Kareem Quealy, Bradley Kaboza, Kieran Sandy, Joshua Jingoli. All those guys stepped up. They played well, and it's always difficult to, like you said, play with unusual lineups, and then they got a taste of what it's like to play 30 minutes a night.
Well, Quealy got himself a highlight play as well, didn't he, with that block?
You know what? That's one of those things. We see that all the time from Kareem in practice, so it wasn't a surprise for us, but coming off his ACL injury from last year, super excited for him to get back in rhythm and get to playing.
Glasgow shot is off the mark, and Ulf cleaning up the glass. Wild penetrates, kicks. This is better ball movement from Cheshire, and that's what they do. Move the ball 5-3.
Paint touch, find a shooter, extra pass. That's high level right there. That's what's got them averaging 100 points per game in the trophy series. Had, like I said, 27 assists, 21 assists per game for the season. That's second in the league. That's exactly the system that Ben Thomas had them working on and has them doing throughout the entirety of the season.
Well, they're built on three-point shooting. They've actually taken over 700 three-point attempts this season. To put that in context, there's been 20 seasons where Cheshire haven't taken 700 in the whole season, and they're already there. They are volume three-point shooters, that's for sure.
Volume three-point shooters, and they've been shooting the lights out, 37% in the trophy series. That's going to be tough for any team to beat if they have that going.
Well, we saw in the game against Surrey how well they can put the ball in the basket. And as you say, those threes, if you get into double figures with them, they certainly get the scoreboard ticking.
Surrey ran into a buzzsaw the other night.
It was, yeah, a tough one, but they were 13 down before they knew what they were doing. As Green gets his first shot up, and he certainly looks like a guy who's not going to hesitate in terms of putting the ball up.
Yeah, if you're Mike Tuck and if you're Coach Lyons, you're super excited about what he's showing so far. He can play the 4, he can play the 5, play on the block. Here, he's going to push it in transition, or maybe not, but he's athletic enough to do that. And that's exactly what Sheffield has been missing all year long, is that scoring punch.
Well, Nixon can't convert from close range. Forward comes the Knicks with Ulf. Hudson's pass was a little short, but it didn't matter. It's still good for 3 as Stevens knocks down another one.
And that's what happens when you get the paint touch threes, you get the good ones. Stevens is now in a rhythm. He's showing again the depth of Cheshire. He's got 8 early ones.
Well, this game doesn't seem to stop, does it? It's almost running clock. They just keep going up and down at the minute.
A little bit of an open gym game for Sheffield right now.
Isn't it? And there's going to be a foul called off the ball. It's on Jordan Rotino. We are 7 minutes into the contest. The scores are level at 14. A timeout has been called. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Cheshire, where the Phoenix have started well, and EJ Stevens is making the most of his time in the starting lineup. He's got a couple of threes and 8 points already, and that's what you want to do the week before a semi-final. Just remind the coach what you can do.
EJ Stevens is super capable when you have so many scorers, as we mentioned, Maceo Jack, Aaron Rye, Skylar White, Cam Christian, Ethan Chargois. They're loaded. Sometimes you kind of get lost in the sauce. So, you know, this is just good for Coach Thomas to add another weapon to his belt.
Skylar White backing down to the hook. You don't see that too often from him. He's more a pick and pop sort of guy, but he's got some moves in the low post.
Looks like they're just trying. They're trying anything out. Get your rhythm right now. That's again another added benefit for Coach Thomas if he can knock that down. It's another good move there by Malik Green.
Nice drive along the baseline. Not too much in the way of help defense, so an easy lay-in for Christian.
Cam Christian makes it look so easy, so effortless getting down to the basket. Not enough resistance. If you're Sheffield, you got to be there. Knowing he's a driver, you have to have a low man in place to force him to kick out.
Nichols getting all the way to the basket. White with the rebound. Well, he's tried the behind the back pass there. It's going to be an 8-second violation. Ooh, that was tight. In these clocks, if they don't tick down, if you don't see 10th of the seconds, then it is at 16, an 8-second violation should be called. Got away with one there. It's going to be a kick ball and be a Sheffield possession.
Sheffield holding up on the glass right now. That's going to be key for them to win this game. Cheshire, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. And Sheffield has really struggled throughout this trophy. You know, they normally don't shoot a lot of threes, but they're typically really efficient shooting the three. 37% in the season, only 24% in these trophy games. Oftentimes that's because just the shot selection. So sometimes you have to go back to basics, as it looks like they're doing with this little bit of Princeton action, playing through the big, cutting out, and an inside-out three, and Malik Green picking up right where he left off from last night.
Well, talking about Cheshire and the volume of threes they take, Sheffield have taken fewer three-pointers than everybody else in the British Basketball League in all competitions this season. But they do play at a slightly different pace to everybody else as well. So there are less offenses out there for Sheffield because of the way they play.
They play a little bit slower. They're going to get into a set offense every time, as you mentioned. And then when you have a set offense, you need a guy like this who can go get a bucket. They have that in Jalen Pipkins. Like we mentioned, he's been a little hampered. So to add another in Malik Green is huge. But you have to be efficient. You have to execute well when you play a slower pace. And also you have to turn teams over. Typically they average about 8 steals a game, only 4 steals a game in the trophy round. Go out and get easy buckets has slowed them down and slowed their offense down a little even more.
There's going to be a foul there on Green, so Stevens will go to the line to 3. I mean, one of the things we think about Sheffield is playing at that lower pace, playing great defense, never really beating themselves. But in this trophy campaign, the first couple of games gave up a few more points than you might normally expect from the Sharks team. Yeah,
and part of that might be, again, because of the injury to Jalen Pipkins. Maybe they're playing a little short-handed. But that being said, it's still uncharacteristic of an Atiba Lions coach team. At the end of the day, he is from Brooklyn. He got that New York state of mind. So one thing you're going to get from his teams is toughness. They're going to play hard no matter what. But, you know, with that style of play, there's less margin. There's less margin for error. So you have to take care of the ball. You can't give up easy baskets. Drives like Cam Christian to the baseline have to be in position defensively. And they've lost their way a little bit with that. But have no fear. Coach Lyons will get them back in shape.
Well, the one thing that they always do, even if they have lulls in the season, Sheffield, they always tend to finish the season strong. They are the only team that's never missed out on the playoffs in their entire history in the British Basketball League. So they always consistently finish well. And obviously Idle Rock, who's going to the rim there, he's been out in recent weeks with injury, and he started the season really well.
Started the season really well. He's another guy who can go get you a bucket in that half-court setting. And, you know, they're working Rodney Glasgow back into the lineup as well, coming back from his Achilles injury. So they just haven't had a ton of continuity, especially with their style of play. As they get more settled, you get Idle Rock back, you get Malik Green, you get Jalen Pipkins back healthy, DeVeryl Ramsey, they have enough talent to get done what they want to do. It's just a matter of being out there in continuity together.
Well, that is probably the upside from this weekend. Don't get me wrong. They would have rather something was riding on these 2 games this weekend, Sheffield, than not. But it does give them a couple of games with a new signing just to bed in where they know, he can try a few things. It doesn't really matter if they win or lose. It's more about what they get in terms of rhythm, in terms of chemistry together.
Absolutely. And, any player will tell you the game doesn't matter statistically, what have you, for advancement. But if you go score 20 in this game, if you go make some good plays, you walk away feeling good. You're going to go tell your mom, your dad, you're going to put your highlights up. And it's just a confidence builder. So, they all know that. They're playing that way so far. And I would expect them to carry whatever they take from this game into the championship round.
Well, it's going to be a catch and shoot here with 0.4 of a second for Sheffield. Well, they've changed it to 0.8, and actually, Coach Atiba Lyons has gone 0.8 of a second. I can draw up a play, so he calls a timeout to try and free up a shot. I've seen you drawing up a few plays this season in timeouts. Where would you go if you had the board?
Right now, I'd probably go to Jordan Ratinho. I go to your shooter with 0.8 seconds, someone who's got a quick trigger, someone who can get a quick shot off. We tend to go to someone like Connor Morgan in this type of situation. But yeah, shout out to Coach Bozic. He let me, and Coach Youngblood, they let me take over the board a couple times, and my teammates have received it well. So, it's a blessing to be an elder statesman on the team and have some opportunity like that.
Preparing for a new career, are you? Is that path you go down?
I wouldn't go that far. I got a little juice left in the legs, but we'll see what happens. You never know.
Well, we will hopefully see a little juice in the legs from you next weekend at the Utilita Arena in Birmingham. Semi-finals are set. Jordan and his London Lions will be taking on the Caledonia Gladiators, and the Leicester Riders and the Cheshire Phoenix go head-to-head in that one on Saturday. Then we have the 2 finals on Sunday. The women's final has been set today. London Lions joining their men's team in Birmingham. They will take on the Essex Rebels, who won through yesterday. And obviously the winner of the 2 semi-finals will be in the men's final on Sunday. Tickets available now. Make sure you're there. It's a quick one into Green, who gets his shot away, but it doesn't go. And Sheffield Sharks lead this one by 3 at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back with more after this break. Welcome back to Cheshire. Well, what a debut he had yesterday. 17-7, Malik Green. He's got 9-3 in under 6 minutes here. He's certainly been an eye-catching signing for the Sharks so far.
He is a lot to look forward to for Coach Lyons right now. As we mentioned, everything that they've needed, he's getting it in a variety of ways, attacking the rim, shooting a little bit as well. And he's something that we'll have to watch in the second half of this season.
So it's difficult when you join mid-season because you've got to try and, find out what everybody else does and how you'll get the ball and what the plays are and all of that. But also you've been sat out for half the season, so you want to make up for lost time and get straight onto it.
You're fresh, and also for guys that go get buckets, I think it's a little easier because you know what your job is. The plays almost are irrelevant at some point. Get the ball, attack the rim, and just make good decisions, and good things tend to happen. So I think bucket getters have an easier time joining mid-season.
Yeah, that is the thing. Is the play stops when you get the ball, doesn't it? You get the ball, go get a bucket. That's the end of the play.
Make something happen. And if we had any questions about how Coach Lyons was approaching this game, calling a timeout with 0.8 seconds in the first quarter should tell you everything you need to know about him. And he means business at all times.
Well, they do need. Oof. Is that an offensive foul? Yes, it is. You got a lot of Delpesh coming right at you there as well. You'll feel that one in the morning.
Shout out Cam Holden right there. He's in the right spot. First of all, how versatile is he? Ended up guarding Delpesh right there off a switch and taking the charge from that big body. He's got more heart than me, I'll tell you that.
Minute into the second quarter here. Sheffield leading Cheshire by 3. Christian trying to go to work. Ooh, one-footed shot, nice. Finds the bottom of the net.
Cam Christian can get it in a variety of ways, and that's what you want to see. Again, the game does not matter. It's statistically, standings-wise, but for him, stay in rhythm. And that's a tough shot he hit right there. He started with the easy layup, as you see the turnover right here. This is where Cheshire's great. Easy finish for Christian.
Well, they lead the league in fast break points, Cheshire. They force turnovers, and live ball turnovers lead to easy scores.
Yeah, they're forcing 12 steals a game in the trophy round, up from 8 in the regular season. And that's a big reason why they're averaging 100 points over the last 3 games.
So it looks like he's grimacing slightly. But this is, as we say, one of the things that Cheshire even have hung their hat on this year, the ability to turn defense into offense.
But you saw all 5 guys running too, running wide, running the lanes.
And here they go again.
Almost.
But you can see the issue here is they all went running because they had the ball, and then when they turned it over.
And that's okay. If you're Coach Thomas, you can live with that because, you thought you had the ball. That's just a little bit of butterfingers. But everybody's breaking out. And again, a little cut there from Maceo Jack. Fingers are at a premium right now.
Well, this is not what Ben Thomas wanted. Of course, the coach will go through all the nightmare scenarios coming into the game. And two of his players going off into the corner to receive treatment on the hand is not what he would have hoped for. Well, it's hard to see how he cuts it there, but
maybe looks like it was already maybe pre-cut. He's got some tape there. Maybe just opened up a pre-existing cut, but it's unfortunate because a lot of times in these games like this, guys get hurt because you're not playing hard enough. But right now, Cheshire is playing extremely hard. They're competing, so just a bit of bad luck.
There's a little blood on the court as well, which needs to be dealt with as well. But, well, they could be plenty of work for the medical team in the locker room at the minute as far as Cheshire are concerned. That's the second one heading off to the locker room.
Getting even thinner on that bench. Quincy Rideau and Aaron Rye might have to go put a jersey on at halftime. Aaron Rye standing up like he wants to.
Well, you would imagine that the cut is not the end of the world. It's certainly not as bad as a dislocation. There is Aaron Rye. And obviously he's had his injury issues this season as well, so they didn't want to take any risk with him. But an impromptu timeout for the two coaches as the blood is sorted out on the court. And it promises, thinking forward, spinning it forward to next weekend, it promises to be quite a fascinating matchup between Cheshire and Leicester next week. I mean, Cheshire have beaten the Riders this season, home and away. But it's two teams that certainly know how to put the ball in the basket, isn't it? It should be a busy day for the scoreboard operator.
It'll be a busy day. I think Cheshire just has too much depth for Leicester, though. They can get it from a variety of guys. About 6, 7 guys can get you 20 any given night. For Leicester, it's going to be a lot riding on Kimball McKenzie's shoulders. Obviously, Teddy Buckets is there, but Kimball McKenzie is the engine that makes that team go. Extremely valuable to them, and never count out a Rob Paternostro team with some hard work alone.
Oh yeah, McKenzie was absolutely sensational on Friday night in what amounted to a quarter-final between themselves and Newcastle. McKenzie, through 3 quarters, had taken 8 shots, scored 20 points and 7 assists. He was a really, really vital part of that win.
And that's when they're at their best. When he's running the show, they have a tendency sometimes. Teddy Buckets, he's obviously a scorer, as we mentioned, similar to Malik Green, but you need that guard, you need that facilitator to get Teddy Buckets his shots, get him the ball where he can be efficient and raise the overall efficiency level of the team while scoring at the same time. So when he's doing that, that's when they're really tough to beat.
And it's funny, we talk about the offense of the two teams, but obviously the two coaches will be thinking, how do we take that away? Here's confirmation of the fixtures, by the way. London up first against Caledonia at 3:30. These games are both on Sky Sports. Cheshire against Leicester at 6 p.m. But Ben Thomas, Rob Paternostro will spend this week going, okay, so how do we take away their both good three-point shooting teams? How do we take those shots away?
Yeah, and if you're Leicester, I think you probably look at switching maybe. With Skylar White, you don't feel much of a threat from him on the block. We saw him shoot a jump hook today. But and if you're Cheshire, you just run Leicester. You run Leicester, you use your depth. Obviously they've had some guys come in and out. They rely a lot on Teddy Buckets and Kimball McKenzie. And then, I think you have to shut off the water for Kimball McKenzie. If you can shut off his water, I think that makes them a completely different team.
Well, the interesting thing in the timeout there is Ben Thomas was trying to G his teams up there, trying to fire them up, because obviously the players all know, well, it doesn't really matter. It's next week that matters, not this week. But he wants his team to come out and perform and be at a level rather than sort of just try and coast through this game.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're in third place in the league, tied for second, right there with Caledonia. But because of his energy, because of his fire, because of what he expects from these guys night in and night out, when they're not playing well, he's not afraid to light into them. And, it's similar on the other side with Coach Lyons. Like, you see these guys in the way they approach the game, and that's what breeds success, is habits.
The thing is, it's barely a spare seat in the house as well. The fans have turned out, come and see their team play hard and win.
Cheshire is a fun place to play. There's always
it's
a
loud,
bunch of kids, a bunch of kids in there. There's always
vuvuzelas blowing away.
Yeah, a perfect gym for the British Basketball League, in my opinion.
Wolf with the mid-range is off the mark, late in the shot clock. Tried to save that one from going out of bounds, Holden, by bouncing it off a Sheffield player, but Sharks come away with it.
That's one thing that you gotta keep an eye on. Gotta keep Cheshire off the offensive glass, specifically Cam Holden. He comes flying from that guard position and gets them a lot of extra possessions.
Montgomery's shot is up. Will that count? There's a foul called off the ball, and it's just a question of whether the shot was up before the whistle went. The referees are going to have a conversation about whether Montgomery's shot had been released before the foul was called. If it has, then the basket has to count. The basket will count.
I thought it was a little early.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to tell with the replay because you're reliant on when the fist goes up, and obviously the whistle was usually before that, but they have given the basket. The foul went against Sheffield, so it'll be a Cheshire ball.
In real time, it felt like the foul call was before he went into a shooting motion. The replay looked a little closer, but nice break there for Sheffield.
Montgomery will sit down after making that shot. So too will Lytle Rock. Looking to attack himself here, I think. Drives and kicks, just about gets the pass out to Stevens. Inside to Wolf, patient with it, good finish.
Bit of good fortune there from Cheshire. A nice set there from Coach Thomas. He had Cam Christian come off a little down screen from Ulf. Ulf has to set the screen on the other side because Christian's coming off to occupy his defender and open up the short roll. Ended up working out for Cheshire anyhow.
Oh, Malik Green was trying to post up there, but the ball's stolen away. Christian running the floor, jams it home.
Showtime. I really love Cam Christian and Cam Holden on the floor together. Those two are big, long athletes. Cam Holden started off the season a little slow, finding his stride now, and that's when they're at their best out in transition. A little bit of showtime from Cam Christian.
Martino kicks out to the corner. Well, Cook almost got his hands on that, but deflects it out of bounds. But again, defense to offense, we keep saying it with Cheshire. They look to run as soon as they get hands on the ball, and they get hands on the ball a lot.
Quite often, they get hands on the ball because you have E.J. Stevens, you have Cam Holden, you have Cam Christian. LaQuincy Rideau is the smallest guy, but their length disrupts so much, and then you get a small guy like Rideau who leads the league in steals.
Well, he's always sniffing around the ball, isn't he, Rideau? He just seems to know when to reach that hand in to deflect it away.
Extremely crafty as a defender.
Nichols backs into the paint, little fall away. It's a trademark Kipper Nichols shot, that.
Trademark Kipper Nichols shot, but a shot that you'll live with if you're Cheshire. It's a contested shot from 15 feet. You say roll the ball back to him, say do it again, sir, and if he does, you know, you live with the results. But a tough shot there by Kipper Nichols.
Holden fires up the three, overcooks everything. Foul called. Hudson with the take. That'll be on the floor and be a sideline ball.
Jack Hudson showing his IQ there. That's what Sheffield needs to do more, though. A quick miss, get down the floor. You have athletes. You have Nixon. You have Ramsey. You have Pipkins. Get in transition. Get downhill. Get in the paint. Spray out for threes or go finish at the rim. And, you know, now with guys like Malik Green who can push that from the big spot as well, I expect them to do a lot more of that.
Bertino to inbound. Ramsey round the high pick and roll. Cook's had to come a little far off the block to get it. Now he's going to work his way back to the rim and do so really well. Well, 4:54 on the clock here. Cheshire trailing Sheffield by 4 points. Timeout is called. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ellesmere Port, where Cheshire trails Sheffield by 27 points to 31 in the final game of the group stages of the British Basketball League Trophy before we turn our focus to Birmingham next weekend in the semi-finals and final.
It's been a fun revamp of the trophy competition this year. Cool to see a little bit of the group stages, a little bit of the NBA play-in tournament element to it. So,
Hudson misses from close range. And it's also reverted back to being early in the season when the trophy started, when the league started back in 1987. It was always around December, January time. Shifted to March and now back to its spiritual home of Birmingham as well, the trophy final. More finals in Birmingham than any other venue. It started out, I was actually at the first one. I was a young child, but I was at the first one. Murray against Portsmouth at Aston Villa Leisure Centre. It was a great atmosphere. Murray won the game. Can't remember the exact score. I think it was a 4-point win or 6-point win.
You are truly an almanac.
Just
old.
Love getting
just
the free
old.
Game. That's all it is. Just old.
I love the free game. Love the free game. Jack Hudson even getting in the act, getting his hands or feet on the ball, but you saw him on the last play with the back cut. That's what Skylar White does for you with the 5-out offense. You got so many eyes on the pick and pop. You got to maybe full rotate from certain places. So, you know, you get guys like Jack Hudson able to cut in behind the defense on the pop when people are falling asleep with their eyes on the ball screen. Smart play by him.
Here's Cook up top. Oh, he's thrown that over the top of Nichols. A bit of a miscommunication between the two Sharks there.
Coach Lyons going to this what we call Princeton action, where you have the 5-man out and you cut out the wing and play with the corner on an empty side pick and roll. Going to that a lot. Seems like he's trying to build some continuity through that offense, but at times Sheffield's not really exploring all the options. You know, there's so many options to be had. You can pin down, you can come up from the wing. They have to explore all those options so it doesn't get monotonous. As Malik Green again getting downhill, I really like him as a player. He's gonna be great in this league.
Well, the other benefit of these two games is the rest of the league gets some film on Malik Green, because they're going to need some film to try and stop this guy by the looks of it.
He is, 6'7", long frame, athletic. That's the modern era. That's the modern era of basketball. He's pretty much a prototype for that. As he develops his game, just a rookie, maybe extends his range out to 3 and develops his jump shot. As he misses badly on the free throw, he's going to be a handful. Already is.
The second one drops in, and Sheffield's lead is out to 5. It peaked up at 6. Not a lot of free throws in the game today. Not a lot of fouls, unsurprisingly.
Low scoring affair. That's advantage Sheffield. A little slower pace.
Trying to make a mockery of you there with Cam Christian knocking down a 3. He's in double figures now with 11.
If Cam Christian touches the ball, I'm just going to assume advantage Cheshire the way he's playing right now. He is lights out.
Well, here is Cook again at that high spot. I suppose the one that's going to be called a traveling right. The one interesting thing of having somebody, Cook's not really a 3-point threat out of there, so defensively you can sag a long way off him.
You can sag a long way off him, but that also is a challenge when you have guys like Ramsey, Pipkins can come off that screen and shoot that mid-range jumper. That's kind of their shot. So you have to be wary of that. It depends on your game plan. I wouldn't bait those guys into wide open 15-footers. So, it's definitely a challenge, but right now it seems to be working. And then when you play deep, it also allows Cook to roll deep and seal on a reversal.
Well, Christian got all the way to the ring, but didn't quite have enough on that finger roll. And Green running back the other way. He will finish and go to the line for a bonus free throw.
This is, again, exactly what Sheffield needed. A little pick up a tempo, a miss there. I didn't know Cam Christian missed basketball shots, but, crazy things happen. And then, again, something that you have not seen from Sheffield a ton, a big, long frame, pushing the ball in transition. It forces the defense to collapse, which is going to open up shots, or if they don't, he's going to take it all to the rim and get you an and one.
Well, we thought 17-7 was pretty good last night. He's got 12-6 already inside 10 minutes of on-court time. Make that 13. He certainly knows where the basket is. And he's done it efficiently as well. 6 shots. Ooh. Well, somebody in the 5th row had an opportunity for a catch and shoot there.
I think Jack Hudson thought Shaquille O'Neal was out there on the left wing, but you know, you love the aggressiveness from him, though, trying to get in the paint again. That's what Cheshire wants to do. They want to get in the paint, spray out. I think Malik Green was watching Teddy Buckets come over here.
Yeah, that's what you do, isn't it?
He said, wait a minute, young man. Let me show you what I can do.
Cook looking for room along the baseline, and again, patient with it, and draws White into the foul.
Wise strategy. Anytime you get Skylar White down there on the block, not the best defender in the league. Bennett Cook, one of the better bigs offensively with footwork. But that's going to be something to look out for with Cheshire, I think. You know, as they go deeper into the playoffs, deeper into this trophy round, playoffs later in the year, and trophy round now, you know, Skylar White is going to be constantly a target of attack for them. So Coach Thomas is going to have to keep figuring out ways to either protect him, or he's going to have to stand up and really show guys you can guard.
Well, I guess the other thing is, if they had Chagwar out there, obviously with that finger injury, he'd probably be matched up with Cook right now. But as you say, there's always somebody you've got to get in front of, and a timeout called now by Ben Thomas with 2.5 minutes to go in this 2nd quarter, and his team trail by 7, and unusually have only scored 30 points in the ball game. It's not so much that they've missed a ton of shots. I mean, they're a bit lower than they ordinarily would, but maybe not as many offensive rebounds, maybe too many turnovers for Ben's liking.
Yeah, only 2 offensive rebounds. They average over, I think 12 on the season, 2nd or 3rd in the league. So, you know, that's one thing. Great job. Shout out to Sheffield, who's not the best rebounding team, keeping them off the glass. Again, as you mentioned, no Ethan Chargois, no Aaron Rye, no LaQuincy Rideau, so you're throwing out unusual lineups. But also 7 turnovers, excuse me, already in the game. But they've been turning the ball over at a higher rate as well. I think that's natural. When you're missing a lot of your guns, you're just going to have a lower scoring output.
While all competitions, it's actually 14 rebounds offensively again for Cheshire Phoenix. 2nd, only Bristol averaged more than them. And that's in both trophy and regular season play. So, yeah, 14, and you've only got 2 just before halftime. You're a long way short of being on pace.
14 offensive rebounds. They have 9 total rebounds in the game. To your point, like you said, 2 offensive, but 14 offensive rebounds does for you obviously get you more possessions. When you get 14 extra chances to shoot at the basket, somebody's going to put it in. Most likely, Cam Christian right now.
They're about the right sort of pace for what they normally shoot as well, so there should be the same number of misses out there as Greg Wild adds to the turnover column.
Another turnover, back-to-back turnovers for him and Jack Hudson. But if you're Coach Thomas, you know, the guys that don't play as much, you love to see them playing with the aggression, playing with no fear, going out there. As you see again, the Princeton action, there's a mix-up.
Yeah, you don't see Cook doing that too often.
Don't see him doing that, but again, attacking Skylar White. You saw the mix-up that time. Instead of just cutting out, there was a pin down in the corner. Jalen Pipkins curled and set a cross screen for Bennett Cook to attack Skylar White. Nice little wrinkle there from Coach Lyons, excuse me, as Jack Hudson in the paint again is going to go to the free throw line.
Again, looking to attack, and this time he is fouled, so he will go to the free throw line. Well, Maceo Jack, who got that cut earlier, doesn't look like he's coming back into the game. He looks like he's done for the day, and a round of applause from the Knicks fans as he returns.
Well-deserved round of applause. Been a top 5 scorer for them this year, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Leads the league in 3-pointers made. Just quite a feat this day and age.
Oh, he's got very smooth-looking action, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been fun to watch over the past year and a half. Just his growth, you know. Last year they had guys who were probably more of the main scorers. You know, Larry Austin, guys like that, who they kind of looked to score. Maceo Jack came on late really impressed against us in the playoffs, against the London Lions in the playoffs, and he really has not dropped off since then. A really skilled player.
Yeah, he's really elevated himself this year with a slightly more responsibility. Has really taken to that well. Here comes Hudson pushing back to Skylar White for 3 off the mark. Nice feed, and Stevens is there to drop it in. 13 first half points for E.J. Stevens.
And that's Cheshire basketball right there. Get the turnover, get in transition, find the shooter, and Skylar White doesn't make it, but Jack Hudson's all over the place right now with the offensive rebound and the assist.
Montgomery at the elbow. White doing a good job to fight off Delpesh. Here come, well, not quite sure where the pass was, right down the middle, and the runners were on the wings.
You normally see that in American football, miscommunication like that, you know, so there's a look like Brock Purdy yesterday in the for all the American football fans out there throwing a little low and away. But again, that's what you love to see. You know, they get a steal, get a rebound, they're out and running, they're playing hard. Right now, they just have to stick with those type of things, stick with Cheshire basketball to get back in this, or get in this game.
Well, timeout called with a minute to go in the first quarter, and neither coach was really calling any timeouts early, but they certainly have used them up now. And that's the thing, is you can sort of go at the beginning, oh, we're just a little, as you say, open gym run at the beginning, but once the adrenaline starts flowing and, you know, a call goes your way or it doesn't go your way, then everything's on the table at that point.
Everything's on the table. At the end of the day, these guys, Coach Thomas, Coach Lyons, these guys are extreme competitors. It shows every week. They want to win this game, make no mistake about it. So expect them to start using every advantage that they can to get it done.
Well, you would think Sheffield have a really good opportunity at the moment, because Cheshire obviously started the game without LaQuincy Rideau and Aaron Wright. They've since lost Chargois and Jack to injury, so they're very thin on the ground.
A little fashion show over there for LaQuincy Rideau and Aaron Rye. Maceo Jack decided just to put the warm-up top on. That's more my style, so I can respect it.
Well, that's just part of the game these days, isn't it? You got to move. It's all about what you look like on the walk-in for the social media, isn't it?
That's what it is. I get hell all the time from my team. Tariq Phillip is always said bad drip. So you know, I gotta, you know, I guess I gotta step it up. As here we go again. Cheshire out in transition.
Greg Wild in the corner. His 3 doesn't go. And there's going to be a foul on Rotino for the hold on the rebound. And again, that foul comes from putting pressure on the offensive glass.
Yep, Coach Thomas clearly imploring his guys to get into what they do. That'll send them to the bonus right there. Great block there by Skylar White, standing up on the defensive end like we talked about. And there's Jack Hudson again. You see the whole bench get up when Greg Wild set for the 3. That's what goes to show you what he means to the team when everybody on the bench wants him to knock that down. But, of course, Cam Christian ends up around the ball with a chance to add to his total.
Well, Wild, a young lad who grew up in the Northwest, came through the Manchester Magic program, went to Charnwood College, which is linked to the Leicester Riders, of course, and played there for a few years, and now back in the Northwest playing for the Phoenix. Martino with 3 fouls in the first half.
I get a little geography lesson every time I get to do a game, because honestly, every time we go to a road game, I fall asleep, I wake up, I have no idea where I am. I don't know what's north, what's south, so.
All the motorways look the same. They've all got orange cones on and speed restrictions.
And then I don't even know what the motorways look like. I see the back of my eyelids.
Nice hook shot from Delpesh. Well, you're going up the M6 if you're going to Cheshire or Manchester. Is Hudson, who's played for both those clubs, laying it in off the glass, and there won't be time for Sheffield to get one more back, but it's been a tight first half, and obviously Cheshire won't be too happy with 2 guys picking up injuries, but the players who've been out there and been able to play have done a decent job.
They've done an amazing job. Jack Hudson, as you see, with the finish there. You've seen Delpesh with the left hook, or with the hook over the left shoulder. He's been in and out with injuries. So some contributions from some guys you don't normally see, and it's been a fun game to watch so far.
Well, JT and I will be back to break it all down right after this break. Welcome back to our coverage of the British Basketball League Trophy here. Daniel Routledge and London Lions guard Jordan Taylor. And Jordan, Sheffield at times had chances to try and blow that one open, but Cheshire just kept playing hard and hung on to them.
Yeah, Cheshire was kind of going in and out of what they do well. You know, they got on the offensive glass. They got back to touching the paint, spraying out for three. But for the most part, Sheffield's been in control in big part thanks to Malik Green.
Well, let's have a look at the numbers from the first half here. And one of the things that I looked at is I think Sheffield is shooting the ball better from both inside the arc and outside the arc, but only 3 extra points to show for that.
Yeah, they're an efficient three-point shooting team. They don't shoot a lot. They're 40% right now. Cheshire has cooled off after their scorching hot day yesterday against Surrey, but the one that sticks out to me is the 9 turnovers from Sheffield. That's the one that has allowed Cheshire to stay in the game. Cheshire turns teams over 12 steals a game. Sheffield only averages 10 turnovers a game. They're already at 9, and that's something that if they clean that up, they should be able to run away with this against a shorthanded Cheshire team.
Well, I'm sure Coach Lyons will be talking about that in the locker room at halftime. Let's have a look back at the story of the first half here. And really, Sheffield had opportunities at times. They went inside to Cook early, and then, as you say, when Green came into the game, they really looked like they had the extra bit of pace. Cheshire worrying about injuries, 2 guys off to the locker room.
Yeah, and again, shorthanded Cheshire, if you're Coach Lyons and Sheffield, you're excited because you kind of look like your identity again. You know, you're getting steals, 4 steals. You've only been averaging 3 steals in the trophy round, down from 8 in the regular season, and you're getting out, you're running your offense, you're getting the ball to spots where guys can score. As you see Malik Green there, Malik Green again stepping out to 3. The ball is moving, and you know, you're just playing that Sheffield hard-nosed brand of basketball.
And you get the sense that if Sheffield can put a run on it, you wonder whether in Cheshire's minds they'll be saying, well, we don't need to chase this one here. Ben Thomas has been pushing them in the timeouts to chase it a bit more, but I've seen 2 of their teammates go off and they'll be thinking, no, I don't want to be the 3rd one going to the locker room.
Yeah, both of these coaches are competitors. As a player, you never really think like that, like I'm going to be going to the locker room. If you play hard, you can tend to avoid injuries. When you start to loosen up is when those bad injuries or those freak things start to happen. So if you're Cheshire, just keep doing what you're doing, play hard, move the ball, just like you see right there, the paint touch, extra pass 3. And if you're Sheffield, if you can get this lead to 10, whether you got Aaron Rye out there, LaQuincy Rideau or not, a 10-point lead for Sheffield and their style of play is really like 20 relative to other teams.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, both these teams playing their 2nd game of the weekend. We can have a look now at the previous action for them both.
Well, going for a deep step back to 3 is up, and this is becoming one direction. Want to try to weather the storm, but at the same time, you're allowing Cheshire to build this momentum. White goes in the post, and at the moment,
the energy, loving from Skylar White. You can see the passion.
Scorcher switching back to a matchup here. Jameson hand the cookie jar. Well, Basel fans, look out below. Throws it down with 2 hands. Well, Lawrence in the point guard role again for the Scorchers. Finds Okasiemi. Goes up and throws it down. Well, he just elevated outside the SSP. And you just can't give, Cheshire Phoenix that much time and space to take a 3-pointer. Biggest lead of the game, 16-point lead. Could get even bigger. They go under the screen, and again, same result. Finds Saquon Jameson, goes up, gets rejected. Well, what a block. Skylar White, deep 3, it's up. Oh, baby! It is raining from the Cheshire Phoenix. Skylar White now pulls up for a tough contested 3, and again, nothing is stopping this team. Surrey come up with a loose ball. Now, can they push this one? They find Muhammad, goes up, throws it down, gets the and 1. Well, Pilot Muhammad with no regard for Maceo Jack's feelings. Behind the back, finds Shagwa, gets rejected. Well, the king of South Sudan said, hold on a minute. Well, Rye can make this a plus 30-point game, and he does just that. Aaron Rye cooking it from downtown. Well, again, the solicitor going in with the legal finger, I want to call that one. As Ulf goes in, throws it down. Well, what a play by David Ulf. Hudson crossing over, 4 points tonight. The follow-up, Davidoff! One more time, you'll never dunk alone. Basel fans, it's all over. The British Basel League Trophy Final Four spots have been decided. Cheshire Phoenix, Caledonia Gladiators, they will be joining London Lions and Leicester Riders. Well, I'm not sure if an Oyster card works up here in Yorkshire, but clearly Duchovany Terrell Green. Another three is up, and again, this guy could get cooking tonight. Finds Spencer Levi. Surely not 4 threes. Corner three is up. Oh! Green light! Wiley down the middle, bit of contact. This is good passing from the Pats. Copeland misses last three. Makes another one. Well, Plymouth go back up by 8. Double-digit lead here to the Patriots. Rotino goes in. Count it, gets the M1. He'll be going to the free throw line. Kicking this one out. Wide open Green on the corner. Can Green for Sheffield get it going? Yes, he can.
There you go.
Well, Pipkins down the three-pointer. Drailing this one for downtown. Well, VC Dusha trying to run in the backcourt here with Joe Hart. Well, what a dive. Finding Spencer Levi. Beautiful play coming from the Albanian international, finding Aquaman inside the paints. Glasgow down the middle. Tried to make the dish off. Can't get it now. Plymouth have numbers. Copeland goes up. Allium. Oh, baby! Well, Green shaking, baking, getting the M1. And again, green light flashing. This guy, mean and he's green. Sheffield looking to regain the lead. Nixon pulls up again. Everything firing in on all cylinders for the Sheffield Sharks. Three-pointer could potentially be lights out. Pipkins down the middle. Pulls up over Dusha. Good, beautiful play by Jalen Pipkins. Well, it's all over here at the Cannon Medical Arena. Sheffield win this one 77-73 against the Plymouth City Patriots.
The British Basketball League is unbeatable. Join me in the 2024 British Basketball League Trophy Finals, the 27th and the 28th of January. A weekend of unbeatable basketball and entertainment. Click the link to get your tickets. Watch on Sky Sports and YouTube.
Oh, what a jam! Well, tickets still available for next week. Make sure you scan the QR code and you can be there watching Jordan Taylor and his London Lions and Ben Thomas and his Cheshire Phoenix. And it's intriguing as an observer of it. I'm looking at it and thinking, well, we could get last year's playoff final rerun. We could get last year's trophy final rerun. We could get neither of those two things. but it is two really interesting prospects if you reran either of those finals.
A lot of interesting possibilities could happen. I think the overall excitement of the Final Four is the one and done aspect. Anything could happen. You know, we beat Cheshire, but they had us beat. I don't know how we won that game last time we met them. So anytime you get that one and done atmosphere, anything can happen. It's just excitement.
There's Dave Aliu on the sofa, who played for Cheshire Phoenix and the Manchester Giants, enjoying his retirement now with his family. His young daughter is actually quite an actress, sat there next to him. But Dave was a tremendous player, real hard. I mean, you can look at him, you can see the physique of a real hard-working guy, but could knock down a three-point shot, top of the key. Very good player.
Looks like someone you don't want to run into.
No, he sets a mean screen as well, to be fair, Dave Aliu. Well, we're back underway here at the Ellesmere Port Sports Village, and it is Sheffield who have the first possession of the game, of the quarter even, and Green, who's into the starting lineup for the second half, gets that first shot up. He didn't miss too many in the first half. Here's Idle Rock to the mid-post, is able to knock it down.
That's a tough finish from Idle Rock. Great patience from him. Get to his left hand, give the little bump, quick fadeaway. But Sheffield, you can see Coach Lyons building the blocks right now. You know, he's going to that Princeton action a lot. He's playing a lot through Malik Green and almost kind of going back to basics in a sense.
Well, Stevens had himself an excellent first half, and he's looking to carry that on here in the second. He leads all scorers with 15 points.
Here it is again, the Princeton action. Both sides right now, they're kind of going back to that cutout. They saw a little flare for Routinho in there, but that's the catalyst right there. You can play through Malik Green. That's something they have not had. You know, maybe a little bit with Jabril Adekoya, but he doesn't score quite like him. With Bennett Cook, you know, you don't have to come out there as far to honor all the cuts. With Malik Green, you have to honor everything he does, which opens up cuts, lanes, and his own driving lanes.
So for the uninitiated of our viewers, whether they're watching on YouTube or TikTok, can you dive in a little bit more into this Princeton action that you're talking about?
Yeah, as you see DeVerl Ramsey right there doing what he does with the 15-footer, but the Princeton action is typically a 5-out action. There's a lot of different variations to it, but it's with the 5-man starts at the top of the key, catches the ball, and there's going to be 2 guys on each side, one on the wing, one on each wing, one in each corner. The guy on the wing typically cuts out, and you end up with an empty side screen and roll. But then right now, as you see again, Kipper Nichols already cut out. There's just so much variation he can attack. If guys stay attached like that, you can have Malik Green attack a one-on-one. If you have Jordan Routinho in there on the wing, you can set a flare screen for him and cut from the corner, guys. Just tons of variations. It's a really difficult offense to guard because there's no script for it.
So a lot of it is all about improvisation and reading the defense and reacting to it.
Reading the defense, reacting to it, but a lot of that only comes with time on the court together, which Sheffield has not had a ton of. So that's why I think you're seeing Coach Lyons go to this kind of back to basics with the Princeton offense to build that rhythm, build that continuity, as who else right there, Cam Christian getting in the paint so easily as he does. But there you go, exactly, just like that.
Everything but the finish.
That's a $1 million back cut 50-cent finish from Idle Rock.
Nice attack of the rim that time by Greg Wild.
Nice attack by Wild, but there you saw it there. You saw a cut from Jalen Pipkins, and Cheshire is playing on the high side now. The corner guy coming out for the empty screen and roll. Idle Rock read it, went back door again, and just as you said, missed the layup.
Oh, Green down in the low post. And the one thing we have seen over the last couple of days from him is versatility. He can seemingly score from any position on the floor.
He can step out, knock down a three, can step out, pass from the top. A little bit of a foul maybe there from Christian, but good defense, I guess the burgundy shirts say.
Oh, no. A bit more good defense because Hudson's taken the charge there.
Jack Hudson does not care about putting his body in the way. I think I've ran him over a couple times as well, and you know, he's drawn some charges on me. He's a guy who you kind of hate playing against because he's just so solid. He doesn't really make mistakes. He doesn't care about getting hurt or anything. He's going to put his face, he's going to get in your face at all times, which is always a pest.
I remember a couple of seasons ago in Manchester, it seemed every game you watched of Hudson, he'd take a charge, but he'd take a charge off some dude who was 6'10" and 250 pounds, and he was peeling himself up off the floor every week, but kept coming back every other week for the next charge.
Anybody who's willing to put their life on the line on a weekly basis, you can't do anything but respect him.
Idle Rock with the rebound.
This is where Sheffield, here you go again, there's the Princeton action again. Idle Rock's in a cutout. A little lazy there. Sheffield was ready for it, but you get on the other side.
Well, just as you say, it's still early in their evolution. They didn't quite seem as fluid on that occasion.
Not as fluid, but now what you have is with Bennett Cook checking in the lineup, it mixes up the dynamic of the Princeton, because normally you play through Bennett Cook right there at the top of the key. They're playing through Green, so Bennett Cook's in a little bit of an awkward position. That's why he ended up in the short corner, which is a little foreign for him.
Well, he gets the rebound this time, and they'll try again. But again, a bit like how we talked at the top of the show with Cheshire, with lineups they haven't seen before. Sheffield are trying to run actions that they haven't done a lot of before, and different guys in different spots.
Exactly, exactly. And the difference is that Sheffield is working with the guys that are going to play night in, night out, whereas Cheshire, they're playing with some guys who, you know, probably don't see a lot of minutes. Same concept, you know. And if Sheffield can get that down, then I think the sky is the limit for this team when it comes to the playoffs. You see everybody buying it. Normally you see DeVeryl Ramsey get a rebound or outlet. He's flying down the court seeing the probe. It's clear that Coach Lyons is trying to drill these guys into continuity. And as you get that continuity, as you mesh together, now you can get back into the freestyle, you know, push the ball, get in transition, start throwing the ball behind your back, having a little fun. But you got to have the fundamentals down and the continuity as a team.
Well, they will have a couple of weeks to work on it as well, because obviously they'll be off next weekend, and they'll have the chance to get into a little bit of extra practice to get themselves particularly Green. And it's not just getting Green into it, it's getting all the other guys comfortable with what Green does.
100%, 100%. If you can get Green and Bennett Cook playing together, that's a tough front court. That's a formidable front court, as good as any front court that you would have in the league. And then you partner that with a guy like Kipper Nichols. You can move him over to three, to DeVeryl Ramsey and Jalen Pipkins when he gets healthy. And then Idle Rock and Nixon off the bench, and you got a tough group to deal with, the way that they play hard and defend.
Well, you got Nichols at the three. You got a big lineup out there, that's for sure. It's a 5-point Sheffield lead here with 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Timeout called. We'll be back after this break. Well, Cam Christian started the game on the bench, but he's played the second most minutes in the game because he's the leading scorer. Almost every time he's touched the ball, he's been able to find something positive for his team. 7 of 11 from the floor for 18 points.
2 rebounds, 2 assists to go along with it. And I don't know how much he was going to play today if you didn't see the injuries to Maceo Jack and to Ethan Chargois. So shout out to him for just staying ready at all times.
Well, the one thing you would say is Christian and Stevens have certainly made their cases for a few more minutes next week in the semi-final.
He's given Ben Thomas really good problems to deal with when you have this many guys playing the way they are. He came up a little limp there. Again, you don't want to see that. I would consider might even have to play 4-on-5 because that's the last thing you want to see the way he's playing.
Nice drive to the basket, but it's snuffed out. But there is a foul at the second attempt, and there will be 2 free throws coming. He's just hobbling a little bit.
Yeah, a little tweak of that left ankle. It looked like that's the. Everybody plays with those low tops now. I remember when I was growing up, it was strictly mids or high tops, you know. But the low tops are definitely lighter, more comfortable now. Everybody switched to them, and that's kind of one of the hazards of those type of shoes.
I would have the high tops and the ankle braces on underneath. My ankles were that bad.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, my teammate Tariq Phillip will tell you that's bad drip. So
Yeah.
Drip or drown, drip or drown. You can't, you know, the swag is more important than the health. You know that.
Yeah. It's not really my forte. It's not my area. We need to get a Zania in for that sort of thing, I think.
Yeah, she is queen of fashion.
Nice little mid-range jump shot there, and Cheshire just hanging on to Sheffield still here in the third quarter, despite their depleted numbers.
You love to see the high IQ plays, even from the guys that don't play. Greg Wild with a beautiful cut right there, open space up for E.J. Stevens, caused a reaction from his defender on the low man, and he was able to get in the mid-range on the closeout.
Hudson and Ulf returning for Cheshire. Kristen sitting down. Doesn't seem to be too concerned that he needs any treatment on that, so he's obviously walked off whatever that issue was. Poked away, but out of bounds for a Sheffield ball.
Selfishly, I don't want him to sit down. I'm really enjoying the game he's playing right now, but obviously Coach Thomas wants to take care of his health, as do we.
Pipkins, top of the key, off the mark. There's Ulf on the rebounds again. Hudson trying to force his way past Cook, but Cook comes away with the ball.
Good recognition there by Hudson. Had the mismatch with Cook. Tried to attack him. Good job by Cook of standing up.
Cook looking for room along the baseline. Kicks out to Ramsey, who has a lot of space. Can't knock down the corner 3, though.
Great job by Cook to find the corner, cause the defense to collapse. That's a high percentage in and out 3. A low-scoring game, but we've seen a lot of good offensive possessions. This not being one of them necessarily, but we've seen good offense from both sides, and both teams are executing at times. You see, that's a high percentage shot right there.
There we go, and it's a good one from Rotino to double Sheffield's lead. And this is more the sort of Sheffield-y sort of pace that we've seen this season. Cheshire more up and down, trying to get 100 points on the board almost every week.
Yep, Sheffield needs to pick their spots when they want to run, play good defense. Skylar White showing what he's got down on the block when he gets the mismatch with Rotino. Skylar White's a really versatile big, man. Love watching him play as well. When he gets going from 3, he's really good at exploiting mismatches on the block when he gets them. He's like a microwave. He hits one, and he thinks he's hit 7. So you love, which you love to see as a fan and as a teammate. When he gets it going, it's infectious.
Well, he did hit 7 at the start of the season. First game of the season, he came out and reminded everybody what he could do down at the Morningside Arena against Leicester. It was his best ever tally in the British Basketball League, 7 made 3-pointers. He obviously played previously with Surrey. You could see how much he enjoyed going back to the sports park yesterday and reminding them of his talents.
Yes, he did. Anytime he hits a three, he gets fired up. It's almost like he hit a game winner anytime he hits a three. He's a fiery player. You love competitors like that. A little bit of confusion here. This is where it comes in with Sheffield. It looks like they had an overloaded side, which is what they didn't want. But a little bit of a mix-up there out of the Princeton. That's a wrinkle that you normally don't see. They're going with the Princeton into a cross screen to get Green the ball.
And was that deliberate, or was it because of the original mix-up, do you think?
It looked like a mix-up at first, but I was wrong. It was a deliberate action there to get Skylar White, the big, away from the basket and get a guard, a low cross screen guard, and make them deal with Green coming across to score and get a quick layup right there. So they executed that well.
Nixon's shot is in and out. Hudson looking to push. Sheffield's transition defense was good, but then they lost White, who I don't think he'll be fist bumping that one.
And neither will Coach Thomas. And that's, again, where Cheshire gets into trouble. Skylar White can make that shot. We know he can make that shot. It's not a bad shot. When you're a good team, you're competing for hardware, you have to go good to great. And for him, he had, I believe it was Cam Holden wide open in the corner. He has to make that extra pass. Cam Holden either would have had a wide open three or a layup. And that's how you really break teams back and really deflate teams offensively.
Pipkins finding some room. His three is off the mark.
Pipkins still struggling a little bit, as we mentioned earlier, coming off that back injury. The league is much better when he's healthy and playing like himself.
Well, certainly for the content team, with all the highlight plays that he has been providing us in his time with Sheffield. As Green goes to the basket and he lays in yet another two. That is 21 points for Malik Green, and he is 9 for 12 from the floor.
And if you're a Sheffield fan, that's what you're excited about. Those two specifically right there again. Cut out by Nixon in the Princeton. Empty side pick and roll from Pipkins. What are you going to do? You're going to step up and stop his mid-range. He's deadly from there. If you do that, he's going to find Green in the pocket pass and one easy bucket. Great basketball for Sheffield.
Well, once again, they're kind of threatening here at the end of the third, but they haven't been able to get away. But whatever the outcome of this game, it's been a good weekend for Malik Cook in his Malik Cook. I've gone back to an old Newcastle player there. Malik Green.
That's
throwback.
That's when your almanac skills come back to bite you.
Bite you, yeah, exactly. Nice hook from Holden. Last couple of seconds, will they get one away? No, they won't. We are through 3 quarters here in Ellesmere Port, and it's still very much in the balance. We'll have the 4th quarter right after this.
you see right here, last play of the quarter shows why Cheshire is so tough to guard. Even with David Ulf in the game, you have a 5-out set. You have a big guard in Cam Holden, throwing it into him in the post. You can't help from anybody. Too many shooters. That is what has made Cheshire so gifted offensively, so difficult to stop all year long, and that's what's going to carry them throughout this season.
Feels like they have a lot of interchangeable parts as well, as it almost doesn't matter which of the 5 guys it is.
As you see again, they go right back to it in the miss, but Skylar White throws it into him. You can't help off Skylar White. And then with Ulf in the game, normally you have Ethan Chargois maybe as a nice pass by White. Ulf's going to go to the line, but normally you have Ethan Chargois in the game who's going to space the floor as well. But what Ulf does well is can't really help off from where he's spaced to because he has that little jump hook. He's going to finish around the rim. Can't leave him, but you're always going to relax when the shot goes up, and he's going to crash the glass, create extra opportunities, which, again, the offensive rebound, as you mentioned, 14 a game on the season. That many, if you can get that many extra shots at the basket, that is going to break the other team's back most times.
Well, there aren't many who go as relentlessly after the glass as David Ulf does. And he goes 1 for 2 from the free throw line. You wouldn't classify free throw shooting as the top end of his skill set.
Oh, to be fair, I don't think you would classify it for a lot of these guys on Cheshire. If they have a weakness, it's free throw shooting. That's all. Yeah,
that's true.
Sheffield might be better off with the hack-a-shack for the rest of the game. They're only shooting 54% in the trophy session.
But it was something that we saw in the regular season as well. Cheshire struggling a little bit from the free throw line. They are the worst free throw shooting team in the league, and that can be costly in a big game. Yeah, there was the game earlier this season against Leicester where Leicester basically went to that for the last 2 minutes. Leicester were chasing the game. They just kept fouling and almost got over the line as a result of that.
You know, they do have some younger guys, which is not necessarily related to free throw shooting, but it is related to focus. And at times Cheshire has had a tendency to lose focus in late in games when they've had leads, games they should have won. You know, the game against Caledonia where they almost gave it away. And then, you know, the game against London when, you know, they're up 13-15 in the 4th quarter and kind of got a little sloppy with the rock.
Well, coming up in March in the British Basketball League, we've got the All-Star game back. Here's how you can pick the teams.
It's the 2024 British Basketball League All-Star game on March 17th. And we need you to vote for the starting 5. 5 from the north, 5 from the south, in both the men's and women's competition.
That looks nice.
The highest players voted in the north and the south will make up the all-star starting lineups. The 2 highest voted players from each pool, they will be the captains. And the 2 coaches with the highest records in the north and the south will take lead of our all-star teams. Then the head coaches will select their remaining roster spots, ensuring that all of the teams are represented at this year's competition.
Are you kidding me? Oh!
Make sure you vote now for your chance to win an exclusive All-Star jersey signed by all of the players. Get those votes in now. Check out the British Basketball League website to select your All-Star starting 5.
Big time!
Well, we're back underway here as the shot goes up. There's a foul on the rebound. You can vote now for your All-Star 5. All you have to do is scan the QR code, go to the website and vote Jay Taylor in the guard position for the South.
Don't do that for a multitude of reasons. One, my bones are too old to be in that All-Star game. You guys want to see some highlights, man. You want to see me waddling up and down the court. And on top of that, there's so many guys that are well-deserving. Excited to see who's going to get picked. Did you do your QR code yet?
No, not yet. You know what the difficulty is? Because I get stuck in these sort of things. Oh, first of all, I have scar tissue from the last time there was an All-Star game. I'll tell you about that in a bit. But who do I vote for? So if I take your team for example,
right?
if I'm picking a centre, right, to win me the league, I'm picking Gabe Olasheni. But if I'm picking a centre for highlight dunks in an All-Star game, I'm going for Josh Sharma. So what do I vote for? Who do I vote for in that?
You know, I'm going to take Sharma. I think Gabe would be okay with that. It depends on which Gabe you're going to get, because Gabe can go rock that rim too now, but you know, Sharma, that's kind of what he does. Just depends on how you're going to motivate Gabe to go up there. You know, he just hit 31, so he doesn't want to jump all the time like he used to.
So my scar tissue is the last time there was an All-Star game. It was about 20 years ago. It was up in Newcastle, and I was doing the commentary on the game, and for some reason they got me out of the commentary booth at halftime to do the scoring, because the dunk contest would be at halftime.
Yeah.
So I was one of the judges. And in a dunk contest, you've got to start low to give yourself room to go. You can't give the first dunk a 10, or where do you go? That's sensible, right? So the first dunk goes up, and I don't know, I gave it a 6 or a 7 or something. It was a Newcastle player. They were booing me in the arena for low scoring of a Newcastle player.
Well, yeah, that was your first mistake. You got to read the room, man.
Yeah.
KYP. You're in Newcastle. Everything's a 10.
Yeah, so that was, that's my scar tissue from All-Star games. This one back underway, but don't forget to go and vote for your favorite players to be in the All-Star game. You've asked me now, where are you leaning in the whole? You can tell me the North if you don't want to get into the politics of your own team.
Oh, listen, I do not care. I'll get into politics. To be fair, though, I was on camera saying who my All-Stars were. I don't remember exactly who I said, so I don't want to contradict myself, but, you know, who cares? Everybody does it now. So I guess for the South, I had, for sure, Matt Morgan. Connor Morgan was in there. I think I had Sharma. A lot of London Lions for sure. I believe I had Trajan Jacob in there from Bristol.
Yeah.
I can't remember who my 5th was.
Paddy Wang, maybe?
No, was it? I love Paddy's game. Love Paddy's game, but I didn't have him in there just because, you know, he came off that injury, started a little slow. But
TJ Atwood, maybe somebody like that. No?
Listen, I have to go look. But both of those guys, I wouldn't be surprised to see them in there. It was Teddy. Might have been Teddy Buckets. Although the rivalry between Leicester and London, I was probably hating. So I don't know if I put him in there. But in the North, I think it was I had Clifton Moore, I had Patrick Whelan, Jordan Johnson is an easy selection, Aaron Rye is an easy selection. North was a little tougher because Quincy Rideau is another guy you could throw in there, but Ian DeBose, a lot of guards up there doing their thing this year.
So you've just basically named about 7 players, 8 players there. That's cover all bases. That's
show love. We got to show love, man. That's too many haters these days.
Yeah, that's always the challenge, isn't it? Because whoever you pick, somebody goes, "What, you're going to leave this guy out? I can't believe it."
Yeah, and I might get added on Twitter. It's like I don't make these selections. I have no bearing on these things. So. A nice finish there by Del Pesh. He's another guy who's been out of the lineup for them. They get him back and healthy, add him in with Bennett Cook. Go about 8 deep. Is Cam Holden getting a little overzealous there with the...
Cam Holden with an 18-foot shot from 23 feet.
Yeah. You know, so they got to close the windows in there, man. Close the windows. It happens to the best of us, though.
Well, still in the balance here. Sheffield have led for most of this, but their advantage is only 4 with 6.5 minutes to go in this game. Nice kick to the corner, but the 3-ball doesn't drop, and a chance for Cheshire to try and run. Stevens slowing it down off the glass. That'll count. He'll go to the line for a bonus.
Jay Stevens getting downhill and taking a page out of his teammates' book. Aaron Rye with the slow, not quite a Euro step, but the slow step, taking the contact, absorbing from the smaller Rodney Glasgow and finishing over the top. He's really came to play today, showing his skill set. He's a guy who, throughout the season, he struggled at times. He's definitely had stints where he showed what he could do. Only 36% from the field throughout the season, but this should be, again, what we talked about. It's something that builds confidence for you despite it not counting in any type of standings.
Well, he's 20 points now, and you can't take that away from him. You're right, though, with the comparison with Rye. I think Rye is the best in the league at slowing down. Most when you talk about change of pace, you think Matt Morgan going from quick to lightning fast, but actually Rye goes from medium pace to slow, and it throws the defenders off.
That's what makes you fast, quick, is changing paces. When you change pace, it's hard to dictate, or it's hard to predict what you're going to do. And Rye, because he goes so slow sometimes you look at him on film and you're like, man, I can stop that. That's nothing. And then you get out there and he slows down on you, puts that big body into the paint, and you're like, I can do nothing with this.
Just stood on the line there, Jack Hudson. And, that will go back to Sheffield.
Jack Hudson being super aggressive today. You love to see that for him. He's had some games this year, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, triple-double watch for Jack Hudson, but he's had some games this year where he's turned the tide. That's a tough lob there. There's Del Pesh. Good action there from Sheffield, mixing it up, going away from the Princeton into a little stagger, into a double stagger away. Tough shot there by Idlerock, but Jack Hudson has won some games or changed the tide for Cheshire quite a few times this year.
Well, of course, his time in Manchester, he was regular big-minute contributor in the British Basketball League. Here's Greg with a little step back. Greg Wild for 3.
Greg Wild getting a little funky, throwing it through the legs, sizing up Montgomery, and spraying him down with the 3. Tough shot to take the lead.
Well, it's a 2-point game here. We'll have the final 5 minutes right after this break. Well, welcome back to Ellesmere Port. How about this from Greg Wild? Firing up the triple. A little step away. Beautiful shot. Confident shot as well.
Confident move, confident shot. Getting a little funky, throwing a little sauce on his game right there. I didn't know he had that, did you?
Well, I've seen him play at the younger age. I haven't seen him do that in the British Basketball League, but I have seen him do that in the youth development system.
Interesting dynamic here. It seems that Coach Lyons is going to the Princeton package with a certain unit and then going into more staggers when it's Rodney Glasgow and that group out there. So interesting strategic moves from Coach Lyons. As here you go again. Cam Holden on that block with the spread floor.
Well, that's what they also do very well, is they find the opposite corner.
That's what happens. You have 5 out. You have a smaller DeVearl Ramsey on a big guard and Cam Holden. You have to collapse, show bodies, throw it to E.J. Stevens on the weak side. He does a great job attacking that closeout. He's really good in that mid-range.
Well, whatever is riding on this game, the Cheshire fans are loud now, trying to see their team over the line as Sheffield cut it back to 2.
Good ball movement right there. Another little variation of Princeton. Throw it to the corner, cut out by Ratinho. Can't allow a face cut if you're Cheshire. And Ratinho does a nice job of finding Cook.
Here's Wilds again, not this time. I'm sure those Knicks fans have been snapping up the tickets today for next weekend. Fantastic the last 2 years in the trophy final. The Cheshire fans, they're loud in big numbers. You can get your tickets still from the British Basketball League website. Here's Wild underneath, and he lays it in. And Cheshire lead by 4.
Greg Wild, not afraid of his moment, making some big plays off the turnover from Pipkins.
Defense, the cry from the home fans. Oh, nice pass, and Cook is underneath. He's fouled as well. And Bennett Cook will go to the free throw line with a chance to make it a 1-point game.
Starting to see a little bit of that burst from Jalen Pipkins coming back. As a fan, you love to see it. If you're Coach Lyons in Sheffield, you love to see it even more, because you're going to need that. Not really getting into a shot, but it's the second time, third time he's found one of his teammates for an and one.
Well, early season, he was always the closer for Sheffield, wasn't he? I mean, he maybe almost like waited for the game to come to him. And then when in fourth quarter, tight game, he was the one who sealed the deal for Sheffield.
Yeah, did it in Surrey a couple times, I believe, against Surrey. Quite a few games. Bristol, I believe, as well. Right now, you can just see it's his burst that he relies on that's so special, that makes him special, is not quite there. You know, even there, he got into the paint, but you saw him, he was a little off balance, was able to regain his balance and find Bennett Cook. But, you know, with the addition of Malik Green, if he gets that back, Sheffield is going to be a really, really dangerous team.
Well,
not if, when, excuse me.
When, yes, yeah, indeed. Well, he'll be hoping it's in a couple of weeks' time when they get back underway in the regular season. Cheshire still leading this one with 3 minutes to play, having spent most of the game behind. Down by as many as 9. But it is Cook who will go to the free throw line, trying to convert a 3-point play.
Cheshire comes back and wins this game. It's really a feather in their cap.
Yep.
As we mentioned, this is Sheffield's style of game. It's low scoring, a little bit slower pace. Cheshire is shorthanded, and they're right there competing with a fully loaded Sheffield squad, so it just shows how deep and how talented this Cheshire unit is.
I'm trying to direct some traffic. It goes to Holden again, opposite corner. Skylar White for 3 doesn't go. Rebound by Cook.
Sheffield got lucky that time. A nice adjustment. They turned up the pressure defensively. Nice adjustment by Coach Lyons. Put Ratinho on Cam Holden that time. No reason to collapse when you have a same size matchup.
Ramsey top of the key. That one rims out for 3. Wild pushing. He's blocked. And Sheffield come away with it.
Greg Wild feeling really good, going right at the ultra-athletic Jalen Pipkins. Is again, miscommunication there from Kipper Nichols. Throws it out of bounds, looking for a streaking Jalen Pipkins.
Well, Nichols and his team now have to go back and play some defense, run in the game. Stevens driving hard to the hole and lays it in.
Really, really crafty play there by Skylar White to open up that lane for E.J. Stevens. Kept kind of switching the screen there because you have to be attached to Skylar White because of his pick and pop ability. Him switching the screen, the defender opened up as Cook probably called one side and opened up a straight line drive.
Ramsey, a little bit low, and it's another turnover by Sheffield. Interesting thing here that Coach Lyons has gone back to his starting 5, the guys who've been there. We've not seen Malik Green for a few minutes. Green, by the way, has 24 points in the game. That ties the highest by any Shark this season. That's not a bad intro, but obviously he's going with the tried and trusted to try and see this over the line.
Looks like that now. It looks like he's taking DeVereaux Ramsey out of the game, gone with some of his younger guys. So maybe he's seen enough, a good
Well, Skylar White, hands in the air to salute the three.
And there's that patented celebration, so much fire, and this time it might be a backbreaker.
Sheffield almost into must-score territory here. They need something. Ratino throws it away, and well, the last minute, it's just turnover after turnover for Sheffield.
Turnover after turnover, and this is what they need to work on. They're just a little out of sync again, without players being healthy all year long, put guys in and out of the lineup. This lineup obviously doesn't play together much. The continuity not quite there, although they've done a great job for most of this game. Not the ideal way to finish.
Well, Skylar White hasn't had too much in the way of fist bumping to do today. He's not quite had his rhythm. He'd missed his first 9 field goals of the game, but number 10 is the one that matters, because number 10 is what's given them a 6-point lead.
Yes, it has, and that's what you love about Skylar White. Goes 0 for 9, whatever it may be. It's not going to stop him from shooting. He's never seen a shot he doesn't like. You love his confidence. You love his tenacity. And the last one seems to be the one that broke the proverbial camel's back.
Well, they will be disappointed with the way they've executed here at the end. I mean, that's just, again, miscommunication, thinking a guy's going to be in one place and he's not there, he's in another. And then again, this time down, just not where people, they're just not in this, whether it's the passer throwing it to the wrong spot or the receiver not being in the right spot, we don't know, but something went down wrong.
Yeah, the wires are crossed. It doesn't really matter whose fault it was at that point. You just know the wires are crossed. You got to get that fixed. 4 turnovers late in the game, 17 for the game, completely uncharacteristic from an Atiba Lions coach ball club.
Greg Wild bringing it forward for Cheshire Phoenix. He's had his best ever game in the British Basketball League as well. He's got 14. He's looking to add to that. It's off the mark. His previous best was 7 against Plymouth for Leicester a couple of years ago. So he's doubled his career high today, and that is, again, taking your opportunity.
Taking your opportunity, and Greg Wild is slowly becoming one of my favorite British Basketball League players. He is not afraid of anything. He doesn't, any shot he's open, he's taking it, chasing down rebounds, only 1 rebound, but that was a big one, and he just plays with a lot of tenacity, similar to his backcourt mate today, Jack Hudson.
Well, you have to say, assuming they see it out in the last 42 seconds, ignoring the couple of injuries that they had earlier, the way they've played on court in these 2 games yesterday, where we saw vintage Cheshire hitting threes, just absolutely torching Surrey. Today we've seen mix and match lineups. They've played a different way, and they've still managed to get themselves in a position to win.
Absolutely, and again, shout out to Coach Ben Thomas. That's a big testament to what he's doing over there at Cheshire. Everybody's ready to play at any given time. They're coming out, they're playing against a fully loaded Sheffield team. Their game's ugly. It's kind of a muck it up game, Sheffield style. And as you mentioned, they're out here up 6, 42 seconds left. Big contributions from Greg Wild, from Jack Hudson, E.J. Stevens. And, you know, that's just what makes, that's what championship clubs are made of.
Well, these Cheshire fans will be heading down the M6 to Birmingham next week in doubtless good spirits. And certainly, as you can hear, Let's Go Phoenix echoing around in good voice. I'm sure we'll be hearing that next week as well.
Hopefully not too loud.
Well, they're all right in the semi-final. It's mistake there from Rudd as he threw it cross court.
Rudd trying to get it on the action. All these guys aren't afraid of anything. They're trying to seize the moment. You love to see that. I think that one's actually on Cam Holden. He was in the short corner there, where typically with that spacing all game, he should have been in the deep corner at the 3-point line.
Yeah, those the worst, because the turnover goes against you, and it was the other guy who should have been there.
Yeah.
They've gone quick there, Nixon, and the foul is called. So he will have 2 free throws.
Nixon not saying die just yet. Goes to the line, try to keep Sheffield in this one, give him a chance to win.
Well, he's got a donut on the scoreboard, so he's not going to get to the end without trying to get that at least off.
Yeah, that's the youngsters. When you get up in, you get it to my age, you got a donut or 2 points, you know, you can live with that sometimes, you know. Game's not over, though. As we mentioned, Cheshire been okay at the line today, 11-16, but in the trophy competition, only 54%. Sheffield has a chance.
Do Sheffield go into foul mode? Yes, they do. And it's going to be Greg Wild who will go to the free throw line for these two.
Leaving Pipkins on the floor, I think, just trying to get him back into his rhythm. Back injury has really slowed him down. He just doesn't have that burst. Even there, right there, you know, a guy like Greg Wild, as good as he's played, is not the athlete that Jalen Pipkins is. I think normally you'd see him kind of cut that off.
I think these are actually the first 2 free throws in his British Basketball League career. I don't think he's ever been to the line before that. And he's knocked them down like he's a seasoned vet, like he's Jordan Taylor.
Not sure. I might go 1 for 2. So you know, step in there. They might need to start subbing him in late game.
Well, that one's overcooked, and Cheshire have the rebound, and Sheffield will not. Well, they might. Well, he tried to commit a foul, but Greg Wild got away. There's no point. Foul. Go right down the lane. He drops it off, and the jam was the exclamation point for Ben Thomas and his Cheshire Phoenix, who will go to Birmingham in confident mood. They've had a sure-handed roster today, but it didn't matter. They still were on the winning side, a 78-70 victory over the Sheffield Sharks, and some great performances up and down the roster for this Cheshire Phoenix.
Definitely a great performance for Cheshire. Got contributions from everybody.
Well, they got contributions from everybody, which means the guy who has to pick player of the game has a bit of a nightmare. Where are you going, Jordan?
Nah, easy decision. Honestly, I want to give it to Greg Wild and Jack Hudson. I'd give it to 3 guys if I could. But E.J. Stevens, that man right there, 24 points, 3 rebounds. He was tough in the mid-range. He started early with a step back, played really sound basketball, 9 of 14, 64%. And he just showed what he could do for this team when other guys are out, showing the depth of Cheshire, showing the great recruiting ability of Coach Ben Thomas as well. Shout out to E.J. Stevens.
Well, it also shows how popular he is with his teammates. They were super happy for him at the end there, weren't they?
Yeah, Quincy Rideau, I don't know how he knew player of the game. Who told him? In my mind over here. But no, they seems like a very tight-knit group over there at Cheshire. You know, they all cheer for each other. We saw when Greg Wild shot a 3 in the first quarter. The whole bench was up. So just a super cohesive unit, and you could see it in their play on the court.
Well, the Cheshire Phoenix are lining up. There is David Aliu's daughter, who you can see on Netflix and all over the place at the minute. She seems to be the face for the future in television, and she's enjoying herself here today, getting high fives left and right. And what a performance from her dad's old team.
She looks super comfortable over there too, like she's the star of the show, as apparently she is. So really nice for her to get a picture with the squad.
Well, the Cheshire Phoenix fans applauding their team, and understandably so, and they'll be, if they haven't already got their tickets, they will be on the British Basketball League website right now to sign them up. Let's have a look at the numbers for this game. And, well, again, Cheshire, the interesting thing about this is Sheffield have made more 2-point field goals, but 3s are worth more than 2, and Cheshire got to the free throw line.
Cheshire got to the free throw line and converted, but Sheffield was 2 of 5 at half from 3, finished the game 3 of 15. So you saw that. But the big numbers there, actually Sheffield out-rebounded Cheshire, who's a number 2 rebounding team in the league, but 17 turnovers for Sheffield, team that normally commits 10 in the trophy round, 12 in the regular season play, or 11 in the regular season play. And when you turn the ball over that many times and you already have problems scoring, it's just going to add to it. You can't have that if you're Sheffield. You're not going to win that way.
So we've reached the conclusion of the group stages in the British Basketball League Trophy. A reminder of the results. Caledonia, that win was huge for them. That was enough to get them through. With the other results, Bristol and London, that game didn't really matter. Leicester essentially in a quarterfinal. They're beating Newcastle on the road. That secured their passage. Cheshire's win, massive win in Surrey, put both them and Caledonia through. Sheffield got a win at home last night, but beaten here tonight in a game that didn't really matter for them, but gave them a few more reps with what looks like a very good new signing. So what that means is we have our final four all set. Jordan already knew he was going to be there next week. His London Lions are going to be taking on the Caledonia Gladiators. That is a 3:30 tip-off on Sky Sports. Not an easy task for you guys.
Not an easy task. One, because who wants to get up that early and play at 3:30? But two, Caledonia is a big physical team. Good guards, Ian DeBose, Patrick Whelan. They can spread you out and make threes. They're going to grind you, wear you down. And at the same time, they can also slow the pace of the game down. So we're going to have to be ready to play for that one.
6 o'clock is the second semi-final. That is the Cheshire Phoenix against the Leicester Riders. It feels like a lot of offense in that game.
Feels like it. We'll see what happens. Teddy Buckets. And also you have Aaron Rye, all those guys. Going to be a lot of excitement. But I'm looking at Kimball McKenzie as the X factor in that game for Leicester to get the victory.
And no pressure on you guys, but the women's team have made it to the final today. They've beaten the Sheffield Hatters in the semi-final. The London Lions women are there. Essex Rebels yesterday beating the Manchester Giants to book their place for the final. That is on Sunday at noon, and then it'll be the men's final. Whoever wins through to the semi-finals, that game will tip off at 3:30. All of those are live on Sky Sports, so make sure you join us for that one. Jordan, best of luck for that one.
Thank you.
You guys go in that feeling confident.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime we get to play, we feel confident, whether it's Euro Cup, British Basketball League. We know who we have in our locker room. For us, it's about worrying about ourselves, execution, playing at our pace, and playing defense, and I think we'll be all right.
Well, make sure you check out all the action next week. See if Jordan can get his hands on the British Basketball League trophy. But for now, goodbye.